Cannibal Joe's by Jonathan Lee Wilson. "Welcome to Cannibal Joe's," the maitre d' said with a huge grin on his face. "Wow, this guy seems really excited to work here," Bob said to his wife, Jolene. "Yeah, it's a little creepy," whispered Jolene. "Come on, let's give it the benefit of the doubt. It might be really good. I've seen rave reviews online for this place," said Bob. "If you'll just come right this way, I'll be delighted to give you two the best seats in the house." The maitre d' gestured to an elaborate fountain covered in reliefs and topped in marble statuary. "Oh, I like that," Jolene said. She'd always had an eye for fine art and sculpture. Bob couldn't care less about art, but he appreciated craftsmanship when he saw it. "Well then, come right this way," beamed the maitre d'. The couple followed as the man started with a light spring in his step. "Sorry, I didn't catch your name," said Bob. The maitre d' quickly adjusted his lapel that had flipped over. He proudly displayed his name tag bearing the name Roger. "Oh, okay. Thanks, Roger, for giving us the best view in the house," he said gratefully. The restaurant had an unusual decor. The color scheme consisted mainly of maroon and black in detailed fractal patterns. The elegant French-style tables were positioned in a circular pattern around various marble statues of mythical characters, such as Poseidon, Zeus, and oddly a Sasquatch. "Bigfoot?" Jolene said quizzically. They soon arrived at their table. Roger happily pulled out their chairs for each of them. "Oh, how nice. They have great service here, honey," said Jolene to her husband. Bob seemed impressed as well. After being seated, Roger reached behind his back and produced two menus. It was at that point Bob realized a maitre d' would normally hand off the seating of customers to waitstaff. No other staff appeared to be in the dining area whatsoever. "Oh, are you going to take our order?" Bob said, scratching his head. "Doesn't a waiter or a waitress usually do that?" he asked, a bit confused. "Well, it is my job to greet people at the door, but we're a bit short-staffed at the moment. Besides, I really love to connect with folks like yourselves, so I'm more than happy to serve you today. I'm a bit of a people person, if you will. At your service," he said, bowing gracefully. "Would you be interested in hearing our special of the day?" Roger asked. "I would, but first I have another question for you. Cannibal Joe's? That has to be the weirdest name choice for a restaurant I've ever heard. I've seen great reviews of this place, but why Cannibal Joe's?" "Well, the owners pride themselves on being a little different. If that name doesn't get your attention, I don't know what will. Also, there was a typo when they ordered the sign. So much for Cabana Joe's." "That's an answer. Fire away with the special," Bob conceded. "Oh yes, I'm starving," Jolene said. "Today we're featuring the Meat Eater's Special, a lightly glazed 15-ounce tenderloin steak with sautéed mushrooms and sweet onions, our signature Soylent Green Garden salad, and double-stuffed baked potatoes with butter and chives." "Oh, that sounds really good. I could go for a nice juicy steak. How about you, honey?" said Bob. "I don't know. I just had steak yesterday, so I think I'd like to check out the menu first," said Jolene. "Sure thing. Take your time," Bob said to his wife. "If you could hold off on my order until my lovely wife makes a decision, I'd appreciate that," Bob said to Roger. "Wonderful. Can I get you started on some drinks?" Roger chimed in. Roger awkwardly stared at the couple, his head turning slightly, like a puppy confused by a strange noise. "I'll have an iced tea. What about you, honey?" Bob said to Roger, then to his wife. "I could go for something alcoholic. Could I get a Bloody Mary?" she said. "Would you like that heavy on the bloody?" Roger said, eyes wide open. Normal, I suppose?" Jolene said uncomfortably. "Excellent!" he exclaimed. He did an about-face and was suddenly gone. Jolene scrunched up her face in an expression that said, "What the hell was that?" She looked at her husband, who was examining the strange design of the menu. "Was it just me, or was that really weird?" she asked her distracted partner. "He's probably paid to be quirky to fit the strange theme of the restaurant. Let's just order our meal and not worry about the rest. We're here for the food, not the ambiance anyway," he said, shrugging his shoulders. "I don't know. It's just all so creepy. I'm getting a bit of an American Psycho vibe from this guy," she confessed. Well, as long as his last name isn't Bateman, we're probably fine, he said with a slight grin. As if on cue, Roger suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The couple uttered a slight noise of startled fright. Circular drink tray in hand, Roger placed a coaster in front of them both. One iced tea, one Bloody Mary, the normal way, he said, exaggerating the word normal. Has the lovely Jolene decided what delightful delicacy she would like to dine upon? He said. Jolene smiled awkwardly and thought to herself, this guy's getting weirder and weirder by the minute. Sorry, you came back so fast, I didn't actually have time to look at the menu yet, she said nervously. Not a worry. Take all the time. Roger was interrupted by a cacophony of metal cookware emanating from the kitchen. His eyes betrayed a bit of anger for just a moment. Just as quickly, his maniacally joyful demeanor returned to his countenance. Well, it looks like I need to deal with something in the kitchen. I'll be back shortly, he said with a toothy grin. He seemed to evaporate and was suddenly gone. I just want to try this food and see if it's really good and get out of here, Jolene said. Why she hadn't grabbed Bob and ran out the door already was beyond her comprehension. It was as if the restaurant had some grip on her will. She looked at Bob, and again, he seemed oblivious to what was going on. Bob was giving Bigfoot unnecessary attention. What the hell is going on here, she thought. Am I going crazy? Let's check the menu and see what's good for you, babe, said Bob as he opened the blood-red menu that looked like it could pass for the Necronomicon in a community production of Evil Dead. Jolene followed suit and opened her menu as well. They do have a varied selection, Italian, French, Jamaican, Chinese. This place is the fusion of everything, she said, almost forgetting for a moment how unsettling the whole experience had been thus far. There's a lot of selection, but not a lot of description on the platters. Point off for the confusing menu, Roger. Well, what do you have a taste for, honey? Said Bob. It says they have Jamaican and jerk chicken would be great, said Jolene. Again, as if on cue, Roger seemed to teleport to their table, like some kind of ninja using a smoke grenade. Problem solved in the kitchen. What can I get you folks? He said with an extraordinarily toothy grin. I'm interested in Jamaican food. Do you have jerk chicken? Asked Jolene. Why, yes, we do. In fact, our chef was just about to prepare some, he said, seemingly delighted at the timing of her question. Great, I'll have that. I'll take the Soylent Green Garden salad on the side with a raspberry vinaigrette, she said. As soon as she had ordered, Jolene closed the menu and flipped to the side that didn't feature a garish-looking face and slid it toward the man. If memory serves me, you'd like the Meat Eater Special? He said, addressing Bob, who was sipping his iced tea through the bendy straw it came with. Yep, I still want that steak. Rare, please, said Bob, who seemed blissfully unfazed by the insanity of the situation. Rare. Bloody wonderful, Roger said, who spoke in an English accent and laughed at his own joke. Bob and Jolene just looked at each other for a moment, Jolene wringing her hands together while her husband gave thumbs up to the host. Roger turned and pretended to descend an imaginary escalator as he walked away. Bob giggled like they'd just seen the funniest clown the circus could offer. His wife stared in disbelief at the insane-looking man entering the kitchen with their order. Moments later, the double doors to the kitchen burst open. A man, presumably the chef, was waving a meat cleaver at a dark-skinned man with dreadlocks who was falling into the dining room. He was covered in bloody scratches. Blood poured from a wound on his thigh. His left arm, wrapped in bandages, was much shorter than the man's right arm. Panic was on his face. As if pulled by an invisible force, the man slid back into the kitchen. The doors to the kitchen slammed shut at an unnatural speed. The couple watched the scene unfold in shocked awe. As if slapped in the face, Jolene regained her senses and grabbed the arm of her slack-jawed partner. They broke for the exit as fast as their feet could carry them. Dining chairs toppled as they pushed through to the door. They were only feet from their escape when Roger coalesced between them and freedom from this weird-ass restaurant. You're leaving? Roger said with a hurt look a toddler might give you when they find you ran out of juice boxes. I'm suddenly not hungry. Thanks for the great service, though, she said in a panic. We should settle the bill. There were drinks after all, Roger said with a bit of annoyance. After all, his guests almost ran out the door without paying. Right, the bill. "Here, keep the change," said Bob as he pulled out his wallet and tossed a $50 note at the man. They ran past either side of the man and vanished out the front door. "Thanks for the tip. Come back soon. We'd love to have you for dinner," he said, bending to pick up the 50.